Alright, this is Jake Garbarino. I'm going to be doing blitz tactics. Usually tactics problems can be solved with checks and captures or some sequence thereof. Here I can check and capture, then check and checkmate. Queen d3, get my queen out of the attack, and then I can take theirs. Knight f2 is a fork. If I take, but if I move with check, then my bishop is opened up on their queen. I have a fork. It's all been checks and captures. Check and check. I have discoveries. This is usually, yeah. Queen b7 looks good, but queen c6 is mate in 1. Usually, blitz tactics is quite nice in that if there is a completely winning move and you play a different completely winning move, it will say retry, check and capture, and let you get another chance. Queen g4 looks good, but I think knight f7 is better. And it will give you a second chance. However, if there is a knight's trapped, I think, yeah. If there is a mate in 1 in the position and you play a mate in 2, it will penalize you. And I wish it didn't, but otherwise, completely wonderful sight. The queen only has 1 defender, so deflection. But again, check and capture. Check looks good. I can play. I want to win their queen. I should not be taking this long. I guess I just take it. Rook g8. Not a check or capture, but I think when it isn't a check or capture, it usually comes down to what Dan Heisman would call AWL. Attacking with less, where you, I'm going to desperado, where you attack something with a less valuable piece, and yeah, another desperado. And I think this comes up a lot, both just tactic solving. I don't see something other than takes. We can defend. But also just playing games, looking to find ways to attack more valuable things with less valuable things. I think we can deflect the king. Is a critical way to win games. I guess take the rook first. And then checkmate, don't have to take the queen. So that would be one where it might have tricked me. There might have been a thing where if I tried to take the queen because I have better, it's gonna discredit me. I guess bishop d6. Attacking with less. Whenever the checks and captures don't get you there, though they usually do, as they have in many positions like that one, attacking with less is a good idea. I think we skewer the rooks, or the knights. Yeah. So we're at 30. I'd really like to hit, around 50. I think that would be a nice score. Hard to do while talking. But you get time back when you get moves right. But if you get moves wrong, you have queen f3. I just too automatically made the first check I saw and did not play properly. I guess knight d4, because when the bishop takes, the rook is hanging. Rook c8. The king is awkward. Queen e1. I guess discovery this way. Bishop c3 comes back and then can take on h8. Oops. So I was thinking knight e5 so that when the king moves I can play queen f7, but they just take on h5. So, of course, I should take on f6 first, and then I can take on h8, discovered check. Alright, 37. Could be better, could be worse. Let's try again. I always like the first one to take a little time on it because the clock doesn't start until you make a move. Here it's knight g2. Just make sure I get it right, get a good start. Check, opens up on the queen. Fork. I can remove the defender of the knight. Queen e4. My bishop's very good. The king has no squares. Queen f1. What? I mean rook c1. Yeah. Ah! Blind. Alright, well, it's going to be very hard to set a high score with a mistake this early. But we're going to keep going. But the Pawn coming to g6, this sacrifice looks very strong. The e7 pawn's pinned. This rook e8, then queen takes h5 is mate. The bishop on d7 traps their own king in. I think I can just push the pawn. Normally in positions with a rook versus two pieces, you really want to be aggressive trying to make a pass pawn. That's the way for the rook to play well against them. Bishop h2 followed by queen e5, forks the bishop. Checks and captures all the way down. Except when you fork. Attack with less. Knight attack the rook and the bishop. Guess this removes the defender with the rook. Checks and captures all the way. Remove the defender with a check and then capture. Fork, and if they take my rook, I take on g3 and I make a queen. I guess queen f7, queen c7. Knight e5 because the pawn was pinned. Knight f5 because the pawn is pinned. I do feel like they tend to give tactics of a similar type consecutively. Rook a6, where's the queen go? Maybe rook a7, and then we can remove the defender. Didn't really see the tactic as I went, but if I take on c6, am I mated? Not if I take bishop. Remove the defender of the rook. Again, check and then capture. That rook's loose, so I can play knight d5. If they took my rook, I play knight e7 as an in-between move. Checkmate in 1. Rook d2. Yeah. I guess I take on g2 and just threaten mate on f2. I just take h2. No. No. h1. Yeah. Okay. Well, there goes dreams of a high score. Thanks. Queen and the rook at once. Don't take back there, take there. Alright, 33. Okay, we can beat 40. Definitely beat 40. Discovery. So I can get the queen. Now my queen comes in, and then my rook does. Checkmate. The queen has to defend both the bishop and the knight. It can't. My queen can infiltrate. It's checkmate. Fork. Check. Capture. Rook coming in looks good. We take this rook. Checkmate. Attack with less. When if there's no check or capture, just make a queen, right? Bishop g4. Attacks with less. Queen g8. Queen d8 sure looks good. Queen a8 to b7. Checkmate. The b pawn's pinned, so knight c6, a capture, per usual. We have discovery, so we want to double check, and then the rook can come in. I'm tempted to play knight e2 because it forks, and indeed queen d1 would mate after if they blocked with the rook, or taken with the rook. This is just a fork, just a capture. My knight is attacked, so if I take their knight, they take mine. But I can fork first, and then I would take on c3 after. I think bishop takes h6, removes the defender of e5. I can take on c1, because their king doesn't have squares, so they have to give the queen back. Maybe bishop e2. So if they move their rook, I take on d2, and if they move this way, I win an exchange. I take on f6, and then bishop e4 will fork the rook and checkmate. I think dc5 traps the knight. I think I want to take pawn. It's not pinned. Check. And this is not mate because the queen defends, but that is. I can take it, standard thing, where the knight can recapture. Where's my checks and captures? What am I supposed to do if I don't have any that look good? I'm supposed to attack with less. Not an obvious way to do that either. Huh. So you can't advance while getting one wrong. So I want to take on f5. I don't really see another move. No. Ah, queen a5. Loose pieces. Didn't have a way to save it. All right, this is a discovery. Can I take the queen? Yes. Skewer. All right, gotta try to speed up. I guess I'll just take the rook. Take the bishop first. Remove the defender of the queen. Fork. Nope, the knight's there. What am I doing? What should I have done here? I mean, probably queen h4. They can just block, though. c5. Hit away the defender, and then play knight f3. So they have to give up the knight. All right. 34 again. We can hit 40. One more try. Rook d1 is going to win the queen. c8 is a queen. Queen f7, f6, then bishop d5. Queen e5 check, hits c5 and h5. They defended c5, so we'll take h5. Queen a4 check. Knight c6 is the only move that defends it, but then we could take the knight. Knight f6 opens up queen h7. Queen d3 forks the king and the bishop. I'm tempted to play bishop c6. Try to hit away the defender of the bishop. Yeah, didn't have a square. I can take that because the pawn was pinned. I can take on h2 because the king has no squares. I remove the defender of the rook. I guess I take on f3. Alright, they're lasting as long as they can there. King d8, and the rook can't defend the bishop. Bishop f3 defends my queen. I guess take the knight and the bishop. Queen h7 looks promising. Queen f7, and that's checkmate. Rook e6 is a discovery on their queen, but the queen can take it. But if I just take c4, because if rook takes, queen takes, I can play queen f1 to block, and if they take my rook, I have mate on c8. Slightly tricky one. Their king really lacks squares, so if I check there, they can take with their queen, but if I check here, we have nothing. I want knight e7, but it is defended, but I still have bishop d3. What about g4? I get behind. Standard mate. Bishop e5 looks good. Is there anything better? Seems good enough. Bishop e3. Guess queen takes. And queen f2. Going right back, because now the bishop covers the remaining square. Alright, my rook's hit. I can do a discovery, move the knight here, and then take the rook, because I hit their queen. Standard piece win. That comes up in the that comes up in some opening that I'm not going to be able to think of because I'm trying to play well. Queen a6. Checks and captures. No, I have rook c3 and then takes. Bad. Queen h6, and bishop f7 is a cute mate. I don't have bishop c4, but I do have this in rook f1. Queen h6, maybe queen f6, yeah, it's knight h6. Knight a6 and rook a7 is a mating net. f6 is discovery, and I hit e7 at the end. Can I just come in? Knight t5 is a fork, so I guess we'll go with that. Where's my queen go here? I'll just take that. 38. Alright, we didn't hit 40 today while talking. I guess my record while talking is now 38. My record in general, I think, is 59. So it'd be cool if I could hit that on stream sometime. But, you know, 38 seems like a pretty decent score.